Hi, everybody. It's day 2 of the 9 candles, and Dr. Gail is here as our guest, and she knows a lot more about space than I do and what's going on with the vibrations out there. But before we light the candles and let her go and let her tell you her perspective on this, we're going to go to the table, and you're going to see all the candles. And we did, the first one was from Dorothy Morgan. This will be Dr. Gail's. They're all different. These from here on, this arc is the chakra. This is the soul beyond our crown chakra, and this is the part of ourselves that's rooted to the earth. So it's a
Which
whole.
one's mine? What color's mine?
Yours is red. Your root.
Oh, I'm a root chakra.
Mm-hmm.
Me, who is in out of space in the universe, you're gonna root me.
Yeah, I do that. I do that to space people all the time. This is the citrine, and it's here because we're in the Leo season as well as the Lionsgate, and it's got the gold. It produces energy. It brings a really high vibration to the whole table, and citrine is heavy duty in a manifestation, imagination, and personal will. And then I also have on here a tiger's eye, which this tiger's eye is unique. It's a tumbled stone, but it has every color of tiger's eye you can get on that one little stone. And it's for confidence and courage. And then I also put the octahedron that's formed by fluorite. That's a natural crystal that's not carved. And it's got the 4 points, north, south, east, and west. And then it's got as above, so below. It's a beautiful stone. And as we discussed with Danny on kind of putting the 9 candles together, we're going to do a directional thing and talk about as above, so below, because all the points of matter are coming together. So it's really important. So I'm going to read the little meditation we read every day. And if you're going to light your candles, now's the time. Together we meet to light the 9 candles in the season of Lionsgate. Lionsgate is an alignment of Sirius, Earth, and Orion, and it is a time for great energetic exchange with the universe. This portal date gives a boost to people's aspirations and allows us to manifest new ideas and enhances our spiritual energy as an individual and in the collective. As we have learned to accept our own energetic vibrations, we are also becoming aware of the energies arriving from the universe to support the changes on Gaia and in ourselves. We acknowledge that these many colored candles symbolize the expansion of energy from our life balance and the universal shifts. We are riding the waves to a better future. And with that, we're going to cut to Dr. Gail.
First, thanks for having me, Nancy G.
Oh, I'm so grateful you could come.
So anyway, mine is I love the meditation, and of course I love those candles. And guess what color candles I have picked out?
Red.
Red is the root chakra. So you're really grounding me to earth. So anyway, the vibration that we are experiencing, or the energy and the waves that we're experiencing, are, in the meditation, she's talking about Sirius, Orion, and Earth, and that Sirius and Orion are out there, and Earth, we're on it, and we are the ones in the middle. And so we're having to ride all those waves and those vibrations that are coming from outer space to Earth, and we're having to learn how to deal with it. So we're like the conduits of all that. So it comes through us to the earth and comes back and goes out. So we're having to ride the waves, and we're having to figure out how to deal with all that energy. And we're all having to really look at ourselves and take care of ourselves and take care of others. And at the same time, we're trying to raise our vibration, and we're just being bombarded. So this is a real trying time, and it is a time to take care of yourself, because it is very important for us to be that mediator or conduit or whatever between the universe and Earth, and to let her be able to ascend along with us. So we're really needing to focus on maybe slowing down, maybe getting out in nature, trying to absorb the good energy that the trees and the birds, all that are going through the same thing, that can help us go through these different changes. So please look at yourself and look at practices that can help you go through these changes, and that you are taking care of yourself and you are getting rest and you're getting the right nourishment and you're making sure that you can take on all those changes. So there you go, Nancy.
Very good. Very good. Um, for those of you who don't know the whole background of how I got into dealing with earth energies, I was a card reader, and then I dealt with a lot of crystals and stones and built crystal grids. And while I was doing that, I ran into this word ley line. It's Ley line. And I was like, well, what's that? Well, they're all over England. They're mapped all over England. There are a lot here. They're all over the world. And what they are is they're sort of a network that it's like a web that holds us together. And I've actually met light workers who work with mending the ley lines and figuring out where they've broken and where things have, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Now, Dr. Gail's going to tell you about mending ley lines, because I don't mend ley lines. I go out and find them in front of my house, and I talk to Hogarth, my tree, and it's also a highway for the elementals. But Dr. Gail's going to explain to her ley line story.
Yeah, I have been working with the elementals, and since I moved to Mount Shasta, that was not my expectation. I thought it was for sure going to be the ETs, the aliens that I was going to be working with, but here come the elementals. They were a noisy bunch. They were needing my help, and the first thing I did was I had to align stars to tree roots for communication and travel for them. So that was the first thing I had to do for them. But the ley lines, I had to go down into a trail that didn't have any small animals, didn't have any birds, anything like that. And I was wondering why that was not happening. Of course, I was talking to Nancy Jean about it, and she kept saying, well, there's a strong ley line that goes to there. Take your pendulum out there and figure it out if it's a ley line. Of course it was. But it's an absolutely beautiful trail. It's all green. It's beautiful. But it just disturbed me that I didn't hear birds. I didn't see squirrels. I didn't see anything animal-wise there. So one day, it was actually the fairies, the elementals, that came to me and said that I needed to heal that ley line there. And I had to go down to that trail 5 days in a row, spend, well, they said minimum of 5 minutes, but I went down there longer than that because it's beautiful down there. And it was during the winter and it was kind of snowy. But anyway, I did it 5 days in a row. And on the 5th day, I heard the bird. I heard a bird. I couldn't believe it. I heard a bird because I was thinking, why am I doing this? I'm just sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
How's my energy going to help the ley line here? But apparently it did. So now there are birds and squirrels and small animals down in that area, which I'm so glad to see because it's so beautiful down there. That was repaired the ley line. So I had to repair communications for them and the ley lines. And what was the latest is dealing with ley lines. I have worked with them quite a few times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're a pretty demanding bunch.
They are.
But they're on a time thing. They need to get the ley lines tight around the earth because sometime between now and 2026, because of the photonic energy that's entering the earth so strongly, it's going through the earth's core and it's energizing it. And at some point, the earth's core is where the Schumann resonance comes from. And if you've ever followed anything, it's always the Schumann resonance was the earth's heartbeat. And until like 2012, it was regular. It was always the same. Then it started occasionally getting a little bit weird. And now it goes all over the place. It's like the world's in arrhythmia. And this is the buildup of that energy. And when it gongs, and I mean, the only way I've heard other people explain it, it's like it's going to gong like a tone that's going to come out from the center of the earth to the outer edges. We need to have the ley lines and the earth lines and the dragon lines, which are another permutation of them, really tight. And when I first started looking at articles, and the people they're called biogeologists, and they had to invent instruments to be able to measure the ley lines and they were a certain width, and these guys have been doing this for 20, 30 years. They were the same width. They moved a little bit like with like tidal wave movement, but they never wiggled real wildly. And they were always the same width. Well, in the last couple of years, they've gotten much wider. In some places, they're 4 times wider than they were a year ago. And that's because they're kind of tightening down, because apparently when this gong hits, as long as that energetic line is there holding, it will help the energy go through the earth in a positive way.
I did forget that, to find out later on ley lines. I have a ley line that goes through my apartment, which
Mm-hmm.
that there first, and then there was another one at the dog park that I repaired.
Mm-hmm.
My energy was going and doing those things before I even knew what I was doing. I didn't realize that until later, after my going down on the trail. That's actually what I have been doing here since I've been in Mount Shasta, is repairing ley lines.
And the easiest way to find ley lines, if you get the easiest way to spot one, and was how I did it. If you see a tree with gnarls on it, those burls that grow up the trunk, it doesn't. I have a spectacular one. I mean, he has nothing but burls, Hogarth. But
Unbelievable.
I know, but you can find pictures of trees on ley lines, and it'll show you what that looks like, and that might be a way. People say, well, how can I go out and find one? The other way is to go out and use dowsing rods, and instead of looking for water or looking for something else, look for those energetic lines, and they're normally pretty straight. And when you get one, just keep going out and checking it and make sure it wasn't an anomaly that one day, and you'll find them, and they're kind of fun. And I've had so many people write to me and tell me they've been finding them since I started talking about them. But the reason they know about them in England is England's been occupied for so long. And, when the Romans came in, they kind of took over the Iron Age places. And if they had a place that was sacred to them, the Romans tended to sort of take it over and put a temple on it. Well, then when the Anglo-Saxon period came in, they plowed down the Roman thing and put theirs there. Then when the Catholic Church came in, it kind of took over all those holy sites and plowed them down and kept building on them. Well, it ends up all those holy sites are places where people felt great energy, are where ley lines cross. And there's a whole lot. If you want to just Google ley lines, and you'll have lots of fun and days of reading if you really want to know about it. But it's got a lot to do with the energetic changes we're going through right now. And the people who have tracked them for so long are a lot of the reason that we understand how much is happening to us and where we're going with it. And that means that if the better our intentions are, even if your intention just from the end of 9 candles is I want to go find a ley line, that's fine. But there is a lot of energy coming from space, and it's not just altering the planet by going through the core. It's all those little waves go through us, and we're matter. It goes through space and matter, and we're matter that's in the way. And there's a whole theory. This happens. We go through this kind of a space thing every 13,000 years or so. And the geologists knew they were following it because they could see changes in the rocks. I don't understand the changes in the rocks, but they would see them. So when they found 13,000 years.
I was going to say, if they're being bombarded with energy, of course it would affect them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I tend to think they're alive anyway. Just they move a lot slower than we do, but they live a lot longer too. But so what they did is they went and they looked back 26,000 years ago, and sure enough, they found these shifts and changes in the crystal forms in the rocks. Then they got to 39,000, as far back as they can go. They can find these shifts in energetics, and it affects the geology of our planet. So we're here now at a time when we can record it. And So that's part of the changes we're going through, and we need to accept it positively and use it to ascend and not to get fearful.
I would like to add one other thing, for people who, we are looking at the universe out in the sky,
Mm-hmm.
at Earth and inner Earth, and we tend to try to divide it because I favor, of course, the universe. Nancy favors Earth, and so we really need to start looking at it all because we are being affected by all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm being reminded to ground myself by Nancy bringing me on this, and then my red candles, everything red around me. So today I really need to ground myself. And I'm thinking that that's probably true with everybody. If you're one that tends to be earth, 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 you probably need to start looking at the universe a little more. And for me, I look at the universe, I need to be looking at earth more. So it will help us with this energy and with these vibrations and things that are changing. It will, if we stay grounded and connected to both, it will help us for it to go through us.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly why I have people on from all walks of our community, and because each one of us has a different lesson we're teaching people, and we see the world from a different perspective, and we need to have the broad perspectives that we'll have. Later in the week, I'll have on Sheila. I'll have on Sheila from Celtic Tarot. I'll have on Ann Perry, who's a numerologist. Linda G's going to come by. Kim's coming by. Andre's coming by. I also have a woman who's a plasmatic healer. She works with the plasma in the universe and heals people. And she healed me. I was having a real problem breathing, and she got my oxygen sats up into staying in the mid 90s all the time. And I've never met her face to face, but I said, we're doing your kind of work this time with the candles. And she totally agrees. So Kathy will be on. Anyway, that's just sort of a quick view. And you've already seen Dorothy Morgan do astrology, and you've also seen Danny do his shaman thing and talking about balancing north, south, east, and west, and then as above, so below. So anyway, it's going to be kind of a full 9 days. If you didn't catch it until today, if this is your first real day watching it, you can follow it back through. You can go back and look at the old videotapes. If you haven't lit candles yet and you get in here and you say, well, I light candles, join in. But if you join in late, light your candles. Today would be your day one of the candles, because the candles, there really is a whole spiritual ceremony that goes on behind these candles. And you can light whatever you want to light. I don't care. I have some people who light one candle 9 times. Whatever you want to do. But I just know it works best if you do 9 and 9 and put some real intention thought into it. Okay, Dr. Gail, we're going to change. I'm going to go hide on my other table.
Okay.
And with this, we close the candle ceremony. We blow out each light, and they will light again tomorrow, and we'll bring that good energy in. And with that, we say good night and have a good time.
Thanks, everything. Thanks, Nancy.